Welcome back from the break. My name is Michael Hing, and I'm joined here by Choo Choos and Tegan on the analyst desk. If you're just joining us, we're about to get into our second game of the day. AV have beaten Sin 2-1, and now it's Regicide taking on Chiefs, and this is a difficult game for Regicide, Choo Choos.
Yes. It's I don't know. Chiefs have looked shaky, so I still think there's hope for them, but
Regicide showed signs of life against Abyss as well, so they have the capability to take this. Like you said, it's extremely difficult, but there's definitely a chance.
All right, well, let's talk about potential Chief weaknesses. In particular, I want to shout out my good friend Jish, who I would say has sat here in this seat that you're in right now, Choo Choos, and has said, you know, this is the split the Chiefs are going to, you know, he's making them great again. But the problem is last week when you look at his drafts, he had one very good draft, and then he had a very poor draft in his return as the Chief coach.
I find it impressive though that he's so quick to acknowledge that, oh, like I screwed up.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a bad draft. Like
Absolutely.
a lot of coaches will still stand by, like, but like I think it's quite mature of him to realize, oh, I screwed up. This is my fault. Sorry, guys.
It also takes the blame off the players a little bit as well. He doesn't want the players to feel bad about the game. He doesn't want them to seem like bad. He wants to just sort of absorb the hate from anyone out there that wants to tweet at them or wants to, you know, give them their 2 cents, which really isn't needed. And just distract from the players so they can just focus on resetting and playing the next week.
So in particular, when we talk about drafts we might want to see from Chiefs today, I mean, obviously we want to see Rays, presumably for him. He would want to get on the Zaya. What else do you want to see out of
I want to see him on Jin. I really want to see him on Jin. He in my eyes is the OG Jin player of
OG Jin player?
Yes, because back when I was playing,
Way back when.
Millennia ago.
many years ago, he was like the first one to really pick it up and then show how strong this champion was. I remember we were just like, oh yeah, Jin's a champion.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it. He can have it. And then this guy would just show, like he would just rotate. He would push bot lane, rotate up mid, and just open ults on the mid laner, which is me. And then I would have to flash, and I'd be like, oh my god, why did no one tell me? Because he's barely moved from his bot lane. He's like, that's how big the Jin ult is. But this guy is very, very smart, very good at this champion, and Zaya is going to be banned today against him, no doubt. But I'd love to see him on Jin.
If they ban Zaya, maybe they overlook the Caitlyn, which has been banned previously against him. I think that would be his go-to, not Jin, because Chiefs look to just give him whatever he wants, let him carry. I think he'll be able to carry as far as just solo carry, drag his team across better with Caitlyn than he will with Jin. Jin does require a little bit of help from your teammates. Caitlyn can just sort of murder everyone on her own.
Well, I think as we're talking about the Chiefs' AD carry, I mean, he joined their team at the end of last year, right? And then they went across to Brazil, and I think he had a bit of a rough time at IWCQ, came back, and I think last split, he would agree that he wasn't perhaps performing as well as he would have liked. Chiefs ended up finishing 4th. Maybe the whole team doesn't feel too good about themselves. And what that means is, I mean, everything this split for them is about improving, is about getting back onto the bandwagon, and they absolutely have. I mean, he's got 2 basic pentakills across 2 weeks now. Is it likely he'll be trying for a 3rd this week, presumably? I mean, he thinks he's the best player in us.
No, he won't try and get a pentakill hangers. Like, he'll kill 4 people, see the last one, be like, I don't want it. Like, you can take it.
Yeah, give it across to Swift.
I don't know. Like, this is the last split was the first time, I think ever, that Chiefs did not make top 3. So it's a crazy big deal for a lot of people.
It's a brave new world out there.
Yes, it's like it's a new world at the moment. So I definitely think that they would have like taken a lot of time to think and really like take this next split quite serious as a chance to prove that they're still good. They're still on top.
I'm glad you said. I'm glad you say it because I think they're going to come into this and treat Regicide with a lot of respect, which other teams haven't. And look to just close these games out really cleanly and really quickly. I expect to see well thought out drafts, banning power picks, maybe things like Vladimir, like Jarvan, which we've seen Regicide rely on, and just move through these games as opposed to doing what other teams have done, which is try out new strategies, see what works, see what doesn't.
Well, speaking of Regicide, let's talk about them and what you see as the potential carry threats for them. We've talked about Suman in the past. We've talked about ZZZ, their top laner, formerly known as Paradise. I mean, where do you see the strengths for these guys?
I'm a big fan of Suman, so I would love to see him on an Ari or anything really that can solo carry this game, just because he's that talented. Paradise is known as a traditional Riven one trick.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that their only way of really winning this game is through middle top. I think the bot laner Regicide will struggle into Raze and Bryce, Raze and Ejim.
Yeah.
But I think if Paradise does get a good matchup, he can take control of this game.
I'd say Swiffer has looked a little shaky recently as well. He got solo killed against Abyss and just hasn't looked his usual self. So if Regicide are going to come out of lanes ahead, it will most likely be the mid lane. When you look at Chiefs' top lane in Swiper, he generally, even if he doesn't win the lane, he's not there feeding. He's not the one that just sort of gets bullied around and is ineffective. So for me, Regicide have to look to go even top, go even bot, hope that Suman goes off like he can and like we know we can, and then macro through that, because my biggest worry is that Suman will get ahead in lane, but they won't know how to play with it.
Now you're a former teammate of Human, so you know this guy.
I'm a former teammate of a lot of players in this league.
But you've probably played with Human as much as anyone in OPL, I would think. And so when we talk about his Ahri as being one of his stronger champs, I mean, what are his potential weaknesses then? What is Swiffer going to look to exploit?
Without giving away too much, he's very aggressive, and he might not have the best map vision. He might not be able to realize where Spooks is going, how Spooks is going to try and get into the mid lane to get Swiffer ahead. We previously have said Spooks and Swiffer are the iconic duo because Spooks is so active in the mid lane, and if Suman isn't able to respect that and work around it, might be trouble for him.
All right, well, let's take a look at Regicide right now. Getting ready in the OPL studio. Shall we bring up their lineup and we'll talk through these guys, shall we? Their top laner is ZZZ, formerly known as Paradise. What we see is Riven today. Their jungler is Faye. Suman, who we just spoke about, is their mid laner. Chenny Boy is their AD carry, and they're debuting a new support in Decoy. See Coach Vicarious there in the background as well. And do you guys know much about Decoy?
He's a Thresh one trick.
Very good player.
Yep.
He's
a very good player and a Thresh one trick. I mean, these seem like...
He's top 15 in Challenger right now, I think. He's definitely been up into the top 10. We can say he's a one trick, but I would prefer to say he's very good at Thresh and decent at other things.
Hey,
if you're good at Thresh, generally you'll be good at other supports. Like Thresh is quite a high skill cap champion.
Be good at Blitzcrank as well, who knows?
Same thing,
Yeah.
Hooks, You'd know that.
I know a lot of things.
All right, let's take a look at their opponents, shall we? Across the Rift, Chiefs, as they're getting ready in the OPL studios, and these guys will be looking for a clean 2-0 for this, presumably. Ejim's still rocking the Spider-Man 3 duck hair color. As we go through their lineup, Swiper is their top laner. Their jungler is Spooks. Swiffer is their captain, and mid laner, we were just speaking about him. Raze is their young AD carry, who will be looking for his third pentakill in a row potentially this week, and Ejim, who we just spoke about, is their support player. And let's get your guys' predictions then. As you look at this, is this going to be a clean 2-0?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, just let me finish the question. You don't need to jump in that quickly. This is
a simple question.
I know, but the desk has a form.
You know the answer to the question. Like, why do you even...
I thought it was rhetorical.
It's part of the whole thing. We do this, then we do the tips. And look, we'll start again. We'll do the whole thing. Look, gentlemen, will Chiefs be able to 2-0 this? Yes. Yeah. All right.
I think that if Regicide are able to have over an hour of game time against the Chiefs, we should give Regicide the points.
All right.
I don't care if they lose 2-0. If it goes over an hour of time, they've earned it, all right? That's my prediction.
I don't think that's good enough. Because we've already said there is a way the Regicide can win this, right? We've already said, look, if Suman carries, if their top laner ZZZ gets a good matchup, that's a possibility. So it's not like a for sure thing, right?
It's not, but
The bookies would say it's for sure.
Well, I certainly don't endorse that. Obviously, I don't endorse that at all. Let's take a look at the tipping, shall we? OPLtips.com.au. Speaking of bookies, and obviously, look, Chiefs, huge favourites, massive favourites. That's not a surprise. But
15% 2-1.
Yeah, a couple of people think Regicide can take a game, and we should mention as well there are prizes for the tipping comp. $100 Uber Eats vouchers if you can get the top 50. It's a $50 voucher if you can get the top 100, and $25 if you can get the top 250. So there is money to be made Uber Eats wise if you want to get your tips in. You guys allowed to tip? No?
I don't. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, but I don't.
On it.
All right. Let's get the sweet Uber Eats money. All right. That is enough from us here at the Analyst Desk. It's time for us to get into our second series of the day. So let's throw to casters, Spawn and Fish.
Thank you very much, Hingers. I have no idea what's going on over there anymore, but apparently we've got an analyst desk of sorts, Spawn. What do you think?
There's a one-word for him. Analysts.
We'll call him the desk for
I
now.
can think of a couple of other things off the top of my head. Greg?
Fired comes to mind as one of them. We're about to get into the second match of today. Chiefs taking on Regicide in Game 2 of the first day of the OPL.
Yeah, and you know, whilst we're saying on the desk that this is going to be a 2-0 and that people at home, obviously 93% of people think Chiefs are going to be able to pick this one up. Listening to Regicide get ready for this game, Fish, they weren't intimidated by the Chiefs at all.
No, not at all.
We were just walking past them. What did they say? Get kills, get objectives, get the win. I mean, as simple as the game was to them.
I mean, even before they went into a match against the Direwolves, they were talking about ZZ and Chenny Boy having a discussion how they think they can exploit King in the bottom lane. They're very positive coming into their matches against some of the big teams in the OPL. So excited to see what they can pull out. So far, we've seen constant improvement for them, but they've only been able to pick up a single map victory so far. Hopefully, be able to see more for them. And important note is they picked up a single map victory with no bans in that game against Abyss.
Certainly did. And what I want to look at is, you know, Fade, previously known as Johnson, was a jungler that went and played mid lane when he was playing on Regicide. Now he's back to the jungle. He's had a couple of weeks now where he's back full into the swing of the jungle. See whether he's going back to something high skill cap like the Lee Sin. See whether they allow something like the Elise to go through. ZZZ has now got all of those, you know, on stage jitters out of his system. He's certainly been having some impressive performances.
Yep.
And their top side of the map is generally good. Chenny Boy Decoy. Chenny Boy, he's just an old hat. Really not all that impressive, to be honest, so far. But Decoy, I've heard some positive things about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing whether he can really elevate the bottom lane.
And that's the big thing for me because K-pop was lackluster. He had, I think, one good game under his belt, but didn't look like he really fit the way Regicide wanted to play that game. So I'm excited to see how Decoy is going to do with Chenny Boy.
I'm interested to see how I go with the drafts today. So Zaya banned away from the Chiefs. That's no surprise. Razor's been an absolute monster.
No more pentakills for you.
No Rakan ban, however. And teams seem to think that they do have a response to get it against it. And Renekton is continuing to be prioritized.
Well, we bumped into the AV boys after they won the game and said it's the most broken champion in the game at the moment, which I beg to differ, but the professionals say so, so I've got to listen to them.
Yeah, you certainly do. We'll see whether it actually is the case. I mean, I don't know really what swipe is going to play into it. Something that has equal shove, you have to think would be the case. Maybe a Jarvan, maybe a Rumble. Definitely not an Alawi. He's just got a big grin on his face.
Caitlyn's left open. It seems like the choice of champion for Raze.
When he was known as
strong.
Zeratul, let me tell you, Fish, the man can play Caitlyn. He can also play Ezreal. And Rek'Sai locked in. I would have been able to pick that one. Spooks has been playing in solo queue an absolute truckload of Rek'Sai. And Spooks and Swiper are two of those players that you can pretty much look at their last 20 games and the percentage of champion, like the percentage of time they've played those champions are pretty much the odds that they're going to pick them in the game. They do not hide anything. They are grinders. They like to get as many reps in on those champions as possible. And Rek'Sai is certainly something that he's comfortable on.
I mean, at one point, he has a Smurf named Ann Pathaway, and that's what Rek'Sai is really well known for. You see the SOFM do really well on the champion back in the LPL last year.
I wonder if it's Warrior, though, because we've seen a couple of Warrior Rek'Sais come out. And I like it. I think it's kind of like going Runic Echoes on Gragas. You need something to help out the clear early so you can farm up and have good impact, and then you just go full tank. And you're able to, you know, continue to get it done. You can sit on Jerome's Fist and go towards Titanic Hydra as the game progresses if you start getting ahead. Jerome's Fist is also one of the most gold-efficient items in the game, especially with chickens and Krugs the way they are. You stack it in one clear. It's a really, really nice thing to do.
I mean, speaking of gold efficiency, Warrior's Enchantment is one of the most gold-efficient items as well. Carbon harps about it so many times where the two components are nothing in comparison to the fully upgraded item.
And this is the difference between the two teams. The Chiefs are going to put priority on team fighting top laners. And we saw last game, we saw a lot of split pushing top laners. We saw, you know, the Jace, the Renekton prioritized, Gragas picked for the laning phase. Rumble is probably going to lose this lane, but is going to shove very hard early and still going to team fight well.
This is 7-12 Rumble as well. He's apparently gotten some nerfs, and I'm using air quotation marks right now because a lot of analysts I've spoken to say that these are not Rumble nerfs. Locket of the Iron Solari is the big buff against Rumble, but the nerfs they've given him are not necessarily nerfs.
So what are the nerfs? Take us through them. Come on.
So his Flame Splitter now has a higher cooldown at level 1, but does so much more damage, and his Flame now drops off a lot faster than it did before. But on top of that, they gave his Scrap Shield much better shielding, gave his Harpoon more damage as well. It's just
TLDR.
TLDR.
He is no longer really that consistent sit in the creep wave and keep your heat up in the top lane. He is much more when you want to pick your windows to trade, does an absolute shitload of damage.
And when he hits level 9, he's exactly the same as he was before with, I think, 30% extra damage or something stupid like that. So curious to see how Swiper's going to play this one out. Renekton apparently should win this lane early, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I just think he won't be able to push against minions as hard thanks to the small damage reduction he now has against minions. But going through the rest of the band so far, double 80 carry band from the Chiefs.
That's huge against Chenny, by the way, because he is a utility 80 carry player or a Vayne player, so we'll see whether he pulls that out.
Double support ban coming out from Regicide, though, means Ejim's going to be relegated to Lulu, which is fine with Caitlyn. Chenny picks up Jhin, which is one of the most popular 80 carries at the moment. We get a Connect 4 bottom lane.
Certainly do. With the Braum Jhin, of course, what you're talking about, both 4 passives. Ejim's hair going to get 1 shade darker. Another Lulu game for him has been locked in. Somewhere at home, Carbon is chuckling.
Boy. Final pick is going to be for Sealman. Does he go towards Ari? No, Oriana's the pick instead. So he's become a big team player, Sealman. When he was on XL5 last, but he was this assassin who was just a rogue agent for the team that worked really well for them. Now he's gone to be more of a team player. Excited to see how that works.
I mean, it also shuts down a lot of what Swiffer could pick up in that mid lane.
True.
I mean, he can still look towards something like a Syndra or a Taliyah. I know Talia's banned, so he can't do that. Maybe a Syndra, Cassiopeia, the other thing. But at the same time, oof, look at that. I got a couple of them this time. Not as many as last, but still a few fishy. Still a few.
Got the Syndra in there.
I got the Rumble as well, thank you very much. I would have picked the Rek'Sai. Caitlyn was obvious. I wouldn't have gone Lulu. I can't believe Ejim still likes to play Lulu.
I mean, I don't think he does.
On the side of Regicide, I actually don't mind their team fight, which is a strange thing to say with Renekton, but everyone on the Chiefs is going to be relatively squishy, so Renekton will still do very relevant damage as the game progresses. And they've got Decoy as well as Fade to be able to also attack the backline with him. Very long range 80 carry, and we know that Suman actually navigates team fights pretty well.
Yep.
So I think in a 5v5, whilst, you know, there is the Rumble, there is the Syndra, Regicide should be able to go with the Chiefs if they're on even footing.
Yep, very much like their 5-5 at the moment, especially since you've got Renekton who will pick up Locket eventually and Braum who will pick up Locket straight away. That helps out significantly against Syndra, especially since the changes, and excited to see how Suman does against Swift and Syndra, because that's a champion we constantly see banned out against multiple mid laners.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I mean, Syndra still certainly has very high priority in that mid lane, is able to shove in, has a legitimate kill threat at multiple stages. I want to see how quickly the Lockets come in, because with how Gargoyle, Stoneplay, and Locket works at the moment, I thought that was going to be enough to shove Rumble out of the meta. So we'll see whether that is the case, and whether Swiper is able to, you know, wait out that cooldown and then still be able to get relevant damage out.
Potentially, we have to see how that one goes in the top lane for the Rumble. And this is the changed Rumble as well, or nerfed Rumble, so to speak. So curious to see how that does against champions like Renekton, because what we've been seeing for the past few weeks in the OPL is no matter what matchup Rumble has, he will push the lane out early and go for first back, and then that's really where the lane's decided. But Rumble always won the lane early.
Yeah, exactly right. And the other thing that it gave is access to that topside jungle. And we know that someone like Spooks, especially on Rek'Sai, is going to look to get in Fade's face.
For now, as we get onto Summoner's Rift, let's see. Let's check in with Vicarious, who's standing by with Hingers.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Thanks very much, guys. I'm here with Vicarious, and I want to ask about this Braum pick. We've seen it as a counter into Xayah, but obviously they've gone with Caitlyn today, which was not, which we haven't seen a lot of from Raids, because it's always been banned out. I mean, how do you think Braum plays into Caitlyn?
Okay, so in the current patch, Braum is a very popular pick in the support. It does get bullied up by Caitlyn a little bit due to the lack of range, etc. But comp is really, we're really looking to play around the team fighting in the mid game, which is one of our strong points. So that is a pick that's more oriented to the mid game than actually laning.
Excellent. So you're feeling pretty confident about your team fighting abilities mid game?
Yes, definitely. So the Wombo combo from Oriana and the Kha'Zix ball delivery, also Renekton into Braum ult, etc. They will be very good.
All right. Well, thank you for speaking to us, and best of luck in the game.
Thank you very much.
Really good interview there from Vicarious. He reminds me a lot of Inero when he was here in the OPL coaching Tainted Minds. And the way he speaks about his drafts, there's very clear can't win conditions for him. He knows how champions synergize together. And now it's up to Regicide to really execute that.
And a big part of drafting is, like, you have to know where you're strong, of course. But you also generally have to know where your team is strong, as Swiper takes away a chicken. So Spooks is going to get level 2 off the big Raptor. We're seeing another start actually on a buff. These buff starts are really interesting. As you can see, ZZZ is absolutely getting lit up.
Good damage there. But both of them trading quite well. Renekton will be able to sustain a little bit better. He took stun at level 1 here.
Is he going to be able to sustain better? Doesn't have a shield. Doesn't have the push.
Without Q level 1, I actually don't think so. I think Swiper now wins.
We'll see. You can see that Swiper's obviously not able to stack up that heat level 1 as he's been able to in the past, but still has a very distinct push advantage with that Q on available on Renekton.
He's got to be careful. ZZ will hit level 2 first base of the current shove.
Really?
I believe
No,
so.
Swiper got it.
Oh, he does. Bottom lane though, Chenny Boy. Oh, actually it's top lane that's going for the fight. ZZ takes dash level 2 and stun, and it's going for a big fight. Oh, just going to both flash away there. I actually like that from ZZZ.
Do you?
Gets him safe.
Yeah, it does keep him safe. He thought the second harpoon was coming is what he was actually flashing away from. And he found himself in the middle of a couple of creeps, and that's a scary prospect at the start of the game. But at the same time, you have to give a lot of credit to ZZZ because that is a strange start. Dash into... a W into dash start, but it gives you a lot of armor shred at this stage of the game. And you could see that that caught Swiper completely by surprise.
Yep, gives him a lot of mobility as well to catch up to Swiper. Makes sense.
Suman, you're in trouble. You think you're safe, but you're not.
Here comes Spooks. He's going to flash early. That means a free flash knockup for Spooks as well. First blood is picked up by the Regicide.
Yeah, that was really unlucky from Suman because he had just warded what he thought was a river, but Spooks was already on his ramp, so that was a ward that provided him like a false sense of security, I guess.
Yeah.
And with that, Fade now has to show mid, which means that the bottom can play up top lane because Swiper's already teleported back to lane, should be completely fine. And Spooks can go to work getting rid of some of the jungle camp.
Oh,
Now,
that's
Fade.
big from Fade. Swiffer, what are you doing? Fade's going to hunt you down and pick up a free kill in the mid lane. Spooks, you don't want to take that fight either, buddy.
And all of a sudden, the wave is actually frozen, so Suman's going to be able to walk back into a good lane. You can see that Spooks wants to help his mid laner out, but he can't. So Swiffer misses skill shots, and Fade makes him pay.
Fantastic play from Fade there, and he's got the good start that we needed him to have for Regicide so far. Chiefs still have a very early lead of about 400 gold.
Oh.
Spooks looking to jump over, jumps over, sees the camp's already been taken. Now looking to hunt down Fade. No red buff available.
They're all actually collapsing.
For the Kha'Zix. Spooks is gonna have to. He doesn't have flash available. Here comes Grom. Decoy looking for lockdown. Great exhaust.
Spooks is dead.
Spooks is going to fall. Egypt uses the exhaust on Chenny Boy as well, and this is poor play from the Chiefs.
It certainly is. Disrespectful play. Spooks goes over that wall, as you called. No summoner spells available. Had already used Tunnel to get out of the Raptor Pit, so in the end falls down. And all of a sudden you have a kill onto Kha'Zix. Going to go back, get double longswords. We're also going to see that out of Spooks, although he only has enough money for the single. And Chiefs are down 200 gold against Regicide and giving away 2 kills.
I just still don't understand what Spooks was going for there. I don't know what his play was meant to be in that scenario.
Potentially turret dive, but doesn't really work onto Braum.
But the thing for me is he knew that Kha'Zix was there. He knew Kha'Zix's bottom side of the map. Just a curious play in general. Top side of the map though, Swiper doing just fine against ZZZ. Even in CS, he's got a refillable potion, but ZZ is still holding on to his teleport. Forcing Swiper back that early means that he's only been able to pick up that refillable pot for himself, so maybe he can swing the lane now with his teleport.
Yeah, I mean, Swiper also just has the ability to shove this one in. It's going to be cannon creep wave coming up, and he can just go back and get his free shop in. So not that much of a big deal. Fade's going to find out on Spooks here, though, and level 5 versus level 4.
Oh, he's got Suman right behind him as well. That knocks Spooks out of the jungle. Fade looking to try and take away the Raptors. Spooks wants to go for a smite. Battle can't get close enough.
Yep.
That is very aggressive from the Regicide jungler.
Huge heads-up play out of Fade. I mean, that denies so much experience already. You can see that they weren't really ready to collapse on the side of the Chief. Chenny's getting a little bit bullied here. He's down 15 CS, Fish.
And I think this is the only lane that's really going the way we expected it to for the Chiefs at the moment. Chenny and Decoy, they're going to always have trouble against 2 incredibly long-range champions in the bottom lane. Caitlyn's just incredibly oppressive in the current meta.
Level 6 already obtained by Fade. So he's going to go back. He's pretty close to a Warriors in Chen as well.
Same level as the solo lanes at the moment, which is always scary if you're a jungler. Or scary for the other team.
Other jungler, yep. If you're the jungler, it's fantastic.
ZZZ doesn't care about Flame Spitter anymore. Spooks, once bitten, twice shy, rewards the Krug camp.
And we're actually going to see the Tiamat start coming out of Renekton. So agrees that the push is still very difficult in the lane versus Rumble, sorry. So get some artificial help there. Generally, we see Cleaver Rush at this stage.
Like it gives him a bit more sustain as well against Rumble. It's always nice to have. Mid lane though, Swiffer still doing fine against Human. He's up in CS, he's positioning aggressively, has more mana than the Orianna as well.
Actually has mana to throw out abilities. That helps as a mid laner.
And he's frozen the wave, which is big. Bottom lane, that's just a disaster at the moment.
Is Raze about to just go shoot sooner?
No idea what he's doing, but he's walking around the river at the moment. Chenny Boy and Decoy are going to try and head back to base. Ejim's solo laner at the moment.
Okay, so it looks like he was actually getting a Rift Scuttler, which is a strange tactic.
He only misses one minion, so...
He also didn't have level 6, so it would have been impossible to just go shoot sooner. So I thought he had level 6 and he was just going to pop his head in for it. Oh, this is going to be a sub 8-minute turret. In a 2v2 lane, if you do not mind, Fish.
This is what we used to see from Caitlyn's, what, 2 years ago? It's been a long time since I've seen a Caitlyn pick up a solo turret bottom lane in competitive play. Ray's actually not taking the turret yet. They set it up to knock it down.
Yeah.
Top lane ZZ trying to do what he can against Swiper. Going for
Ultimate's
a big
still
trade.
available.
Dominus used, but that's a good equalizer pop by Swiper. ZZ forced to back out. Swiper does have flash. Early flash from ZZZ. Big flash from Swiper over the fat part of the wall.
Huge play out of Swiper, and this is a couple of weeks in a row where people have kind of called into question the top laner of the Chiefs, and a couple of times he would have picked up a solo kill there as well. There was no way ZZZ was turning that one around. Really nicely executed upon, and all of a sudden the Chiefs, who were looking a little bit shaky, I mean a couple of kills going over on Spooks as well as Swiffer, now have pretty much a first turret sitting bottom lane whenever they want to take it, as well as a pretty nice advantage on their top laner.
They certainly do. I mean, it's already about 800 gold in the Chiefs' favor. 8 minutes in, that's great. And like you've mentioned, that's not even counting in the turret bottom lane, which is going to fall.
I'd love to grab a look at Rexide's skill leveling as well, because I've seen in solo queue a couple of people put early points in E as well for skirmishing. I wonder if Kha'Zix is one of the matchup. I still think Q's way better because it gives you such a nice clear, but E does a lot of damage now on Rek'Sai.
Checking in on that later, and it's a big part of why Rexide's gone for Warriors as well recently, due to the fact that now she has 4 damaging spells.
Yep. As well as the nice little leap onto people.
It's like a mini Warwick without the suppress. Target as well, which is quite scary. Fade has found Spooks again. He's still a level up here. Spooks has hit level 6, so anyone he has damage in the last few seconds he can jump to from a massive distance. And now actually makes Rexide's cry terrifying when you hear it.
That was actually really nice pathing from Fade. Dodges out on any vision, but will be spotted now.
They're going for a fight bottom lane. Raze is the one that gets exhausted here, but that's when Chenny Boy is forced to back off. Opens up with a Kerner call. Egypt dodge out of it. Raze going to take the crit shot as well. Egypt's trying to run away.
Orianna's
good flash. Here comes Ori. Human looking for the kill. Tries to go for Raze. Egypt with a good exhaust. Captive Audience locks it down. Swiffer joins the fight, but already one kill for Regicide. Swiffer going for the support, and in fact, it's a teleport into the back lines from both top laners. Swiper's in trouble. Raze is charging up his ultimate. Stillman's still alive. 2 kills for Regicide, 1 for the Chiefs so far. ZZZ and Chenny Boy standing their ground at the moment. This entire time, Fade is still pushing top lane.
Yeah, it certainly is, although ZZZ just might have overstayed his welcome.
There are traps
Misses
here.
the Unburrow.
Doesn't get the traps down as well, so ZZ is going to get caught out. Ultimate used by Spooks, secures the kill for the Chiefs. 2 for 2 trades.
Still wants to go. How long on Unburrow? Actually doesn't have the tunnel available, so will back away.
Yep.
As you mentioned, that's actually a stay-at-home Fade. Just did not move out of the top lane. Is continuing to try and push through onto that turret. Don't know if that's the right call out of the Kha'Zix, because he probably isn't going to be able to grab it. So an overcommit there, and the Chiefs actually come out ahead in the team fight.
Yep. If they did grab that turret, that's a completely even trade, and Regicide would have been 500 gold out in this match. But now 1.5. Top lane turret is relatively healthy to defend in an even situation. Regicide going to have to catch them off guard. But their team fighting this early so far from Regicide looks good. Just laning phase definitely going in favor of the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, especially in that bottom lane. Chenny now has 2 kills, so is evened out the gold a little bit. But 69 CS and 93, as well as the tower falling. I know that Raze is very vocal that he's back. He's back in form. Wasn't happy with his split 1 performances. Now thinks he's undoubtedly the best player in the league. I think that's a bold call. But at the same time, you've got to give credit because he's got a couple of pentakills and is now absolutely having a field day in this laning phase.
I mean, moving into split 2, I was questioning if Raze was the best AD carry. I thought that he had the likes of FBI, King to overtake
he's the best
him easy.
AD carry again.
And now he is, definitely, after watching him play
Is he
the past
better
2
than
weeks.
Fantix? Is the only question I have in my head. Not an AD carry. I mean, at the game.
He could be. If you want him to be, Jake. Next Origin.
Next Origin. Fennix AD carry. You heard it here first.
Oh, boy. I mean, Raze is maybe one of the best mid laners, I mean, in the league after Origin's
Yeah,
performance.
nice
as well.
quadra kill there on the Orianna.
But
Boomin, are you dead?
good damage so far. Happy to take up some damage.
He missed the actual stun damage there. Still knocked him back, but I think otherwise that would have been the ulti being fired out.
So one of the things that makes Regicide exciting to watch for me is the fact that when we look at Challenger Series teams across around the world, especially in the LPL, where they have the LSPL, where a lot of these teams are really good laning phase teams. They make it to 20 minutes and then team
Everything
fighting just falls apart. Regicide feel like the opposite for me. Their team fighting and late game calls are great. I watch them and it feels like they're doing the right thing at the right time. Just their laning phase feels a little bit iffy at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, I would say that the members that feel the most iffy for me in the laning phase are probably the duo lane at the moment, although they've got some nice kills, as well as their jungler. Fade's certainly getting back in the swing of the path, although now Swift is going to kill Zoom and solo. So that's good.
That's what we mean. That exact thing right there. Razor caught out by Decoy.
Trouble.
Good stun from Chenny Boy. Knock up chain by Decoy as well. But a good exhaust medium stops a lot of damage from Chenny. Pillow Peacemaker flashed out by Chenny. Will still die. Decoy picks up the kill, but that's a 2-for-1 in favor of the Chiefs.
Certainly is, and Spooks is absolutely everywhere on Rek'Sai right now. Was hovering mid lane, helped secure that kill by just proximity. Now visits top lane, able to pick up a cheap one for himself. Will push this wave into turret. You see Fade's actually sticking around again. Bold call. Bottom lane, actually a little bit of aggression out of ZZZ onto Swiper, and they're going to tango. Swift is actually heading down there. ZZZ needs to get out. Don't know why we're watching Fade farm. Please show me ZZZ.
Rift Herald apparently is the next target, but here we go. ZZ Pomp Dominus. Swiper still healthy. Equalizer being used as well. Jumps on top of Swiffer. He tries to stun someone up. That didn't seem like it went through there.
2v1.
This is ZZZ trying to take on 2v1. If he gets another Q off, that's going to be big. Gets it. Swiffer's now in trouble. He can't dash any further forward. Using that stun may have been the bane of that 2v1 there, but so close from ZZZ.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, with the Hex Drinker, had enough survivability to just be able to continue to go for it. If the Chiefs hadn't appealed away and kited that one out, that would have been a completely different story. Another team would have gone over aggressive and ZZZ would have picked up the double kill, but nicely played from the Chiefs solo laners.
Yeah, still curious what that first flash from ZZZ was all about though, because thought he was going in for a flash stun combo. Nothing. Flash auto attacks apparently saved it for the end. Might have been a lot better.
Maybe just wanted to get off the red carpet as soon as possible. As soon as that equalizer went down, he flashed. Spooks, of course, is had the worst use of Rift Herald so far in the OPL. So we'll see whether he does it again. Use it to take 20 CS off Swiffer last game.
He's playing for the wrong team that match. Spook's Q is now Spook's Trinket. Top side of the map though, Raze is still...
Oh, look at the rapid fire cannon project come out. Although that's nice damage out of the rank 1 trap.
just bullying them at the moment. Raze is happy to continue pushing as that's not great.
Certainly isn't.
We are, you know,
Just get
shutting
a quick
down at the
Windows
moment.
update in there.
Quick update while we go into this team fight. Egypt's going to get slowed down. Fade jumps off further forward.
Good flash. Spooks is in now.
Let's see what they can do. Chiefs trying to turn around. Double teleports coming to the top lane. Swiper doesn't have Equalizer, but has got there first. They blow up Spooks to kick things off, and that's a teleport being cancelled by ZZZ as well. But no, he completed it.
Yeah, completes. And Spooks actually went untargetable there with the ultimate, but also threw himself in the middle of 3 people with his flash. And that's what you get when you're used to playing a tank Rek'Sai. That is a Cinderhulk. All of a sudden, it's not a bad play, but at the same time, you've got to know that you're playing Warrior Enchant, and you're a little bit squishier than that, although now CZZ has 3 members running at him.
I mean, that's against ZZ teleporting at the perfect time before Swiper.
Yep.
And Regicide pick up a team fight for themselves. So a single kill, but again, laning phase definitely suffering, and seems like the Chiefs have set up their macro quite fantastically so far.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. They're pushing in waves. You can see CS advantages for both mid lane and the AD carry by a large margin. Top lane, I mean, Renekton's still done fine in the laning phase. So, you know, maybe pinches onto something. I'm still skeptical. I don't know if Renekton is broken. But he's doing fine.
Yeah. ZZ is playing a lot better than the 2 top laners we've seen today.
I mean, he's also got the KFC Variety Bucket Challenge going on right now.
A bit of everything at the moment.
Yeah, certainly does. Chenny Boy's dead. Goodbye, Chenny.
See, I want to really enjoy watch Regicide play. Their macro play, their team play looks like a great team playing, but then you just pan to a random part of the map and someone's dead in the middle of a lane. This is incredibly weird at the moment, but Swift is going to be able to take down this mid lane outer turret. Now might be able to take down Decoy as well. There goes Regicide, jumps on top of the Brom. Dead man.
Really nice play out of Spooks there. You can see that people still getting used to playing against the new Rek'Sai. Is going to be Dead Man's Plate. So kind of an old school Lee Sin-esque build potentially coming out. Yeah. We used to go Warriors into Dead Man's and just walk up to people and slap them for really large amounts of damage and the annoying slow.
And Chief's going to be able to pick up the second Elemental Dragon of the game, and Infernal Dragon has spawned for them. They're slowly inching their way into a lead against Regicide. They're about 4,000 gold up, sitting nice and comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, however, that the Chiefs would have been a little bit surprised about how Regicide have played this early game.
Definitely.
I think that, you know, Fade, sorry, Fade Johnson, has started doing a very nice job, and Spooks is going to use it in the exact same fashion.
No!
This time it had ran out, so he will at least get a charge on the turret. It did some damage to the turret this time. But just the drive-by Herald.
Come on, Spooks. Oh boy. Raze is continuing to push out this turret.
That was the wrong way.
That's all that.
Yeah, Fantix, you've been promoted again. That's all I'm saying.
Oh boy. It's Chiefs have a nice and comfortable lead, but it hasn't looked like the easiest of games for them so far.
No, it certainly hasn't. They've had to work for it. I think they're going to have to work to defend this top lane as well, because all of a sudden the top laner and mid laner are both doing blue buff right now, and no one had really stuck around to help Raze out. So they give up the objective. They don't die for it, which is always nice to see. See whether they get something on the rebound.
So ZZ has gone Hexshrinker into Tiamat, now completing his Black Cleaver, as you mentioned, the Variety Bucket build.
He's going to have 3 triple offensive items, though, which I used to really enjoy on Renekton. I was a big fan on getting more damage early. Now Gargoyle Stoneplate, I mean, I think it's pretty much undisputed the best third item that you can get on Renekton because of how it works with his ultimate.
I just really like the Hexshrinker pickup from ZZ. Yeah. I think it's a great adaptation. Almost gave him a 2v1.
Certainly did.
Team is going to be a bit careful because Spooks has his number top side of the map.
Spooks is same level as Suman at the moment as well.
Spotted out by a pink ward there.
4-2-2 on the first Rek'Sai we've seen.
Doing well. Super trying to steal blue buff. Doesn't work.
Close, no cigar.
But the Chiefs able to use that pressure to take top lane turret. Chennyboy's opening up with a curtain call. Raze gets slowed down by 1, flashes out of the range for the second.
That's a really smart flash because Teleport's already coming in behind them. They're going to have to get something somewhere if they're going to live.
Good dodge, but ZZ's gone on top of Lulu first. Ejim's so low. That's going to be one more dash in. Easy kill, and Ray's going to be next. No, Ejim lives somehow. Regicide still get 1, but Ejim somehow got away from that. That's not allowed. No. Regicide, go back and watch that again.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden they're pinging out Baron, however. Swiffer is in mid lane, is actually going towards the bottom side. Swiper is in bottom lane. I don't know if they know this happening. They do now because they drop a ward in, but are they even close enough to contest?
Teleport is coming in. The big thing, though, this is a 3-on-5 because Egypt technically can't do anything in this fight besides throw out Glitter Lances from a range. Spooks goes in. Good equalizer being used. That's 3 members tanking it up. Goes in vulnerable. Big ultimate by Steelman, but look at Swiper on the back lines. Easily cleaning up the team fight. Pretty sure that's going to be a quadra there. No, it's not just a triple-double. It's a Rumble and Syndrome picking up all the kills, and Chief says, thank you for this Baron you've started for us. We don't mind taking that one.
And all of a sudden, piling into the Baron pit was the wrong call. You could see that they had a reasonably low fish, but huge equalizer. They had to exhaust Spooks as he flew in because he has so much damage at this stage. And that just meant the 2 mages could absolutely clean up. The Chiefs get saved there a little bit. Regicide, that's a bold play, but that's the kind of play you need if you're a rookie squad to beat the Chiefs.
Yep.
And they'll look at footage of that because I think they had the right call.
I mean, again, Regicide, every single play they go into, it's like, we're doing this, we're not going halfway in between. We are committing to this one play. We saw that top lane with the kill, see that the Baron buff. I think if they pulled off a little bit earlier, if they spotted the teleport, might have been wise. Yeah. I mean, burn a teleport, get out, try and kill someone on the way out.
I think the right call there is like start up the Baron. That's the part of it that I like. I think the perfect call is start up the Baron, make sure that you have visibility of the TP coming in and kill Swiper. I think that if you kill Swiper in that situation, all of a sudden you've got what's going to be a teleport advantage in the end, as ZZZs would come up a little bit earlier. He's probably going to be able to match the split push nicely. Now, however, Swiper just picked up a triple kill, has managed to pick himself up to Zonya's Hourglass, and will be pretty difficult to deal with.
Oof, that's a lot of damage on towards Sealman. Decoy puts up the shield just in time. Sealman escapes with his life, but Swiffer, after an interesting start, getting solo killed by Fade.
Yeah, he's not happy about the solo kill that went across Fist.
He's doing well.
Let me tell you, he did not appreciate that at all. And has made amends for it so far.
Tegan was talking on the desk that if this is more than an hour total game time for Regicide, they've got something to take away from it. I think.
No, he said they should have the point.
Yeah. I think at the moment, Regicide can learn a lot from this match because a lot of things they've just done right so far. And they're looking for another team fight, engaging on the Swiper straight away, almost killing him. Lives with next to no health. They just can't quite find the last tick of damage to take down the Rumble.
And that's what a 10,000 gold difference does. I mean, you could see that they get all the abilities off in the correct order. Swiper should have fallen down if he was a level lower, if he didn't have one item. Instead, he's able to survive through the burst. They turn around onto ZZZ. Now they're probably going to win the game.
Yeah, Stillman's probably going to fall here. Good ultimate from Swiffer. Decoy can't get the shield in the right direction that time round. Spooks is chasing on towards this Brom. Ultimate comes out as well as the final Dark Sphere. Thrown down by Swiffer, picks up that kill. The entire time this fight was happening, Fade was trying to chase a low health Swiper throughout the jungle, couldn't quite find him, and with that, Chiefs, 24 minutes into the game, already knocking on the Nexus here, Spawn.
Yeah, they certainly are. They've still got 2 members that are dead for 20 seconds. They do the right thing, they do the discipline thing, they move back out of the base. Don't know why we're having a look at them yet.
No, not yet.
Bring everyone back.
Still in game, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go get your water or your coffee just yet, you know. Still got some time.
About a 15,000 gold lead right now for the Chiefs.
As much as we've given a lot of credit to Regicide in this game, it's been Chiefs have adapted well. They've despite small mistakes here and there, they're fine. Their macro play is fantastic. Raze looks good on Caitlyn. Swiffer's doing fine in the mid lane. I really like this Rek'Sai pick.
I think the Rek'Sai picks is the startling thing, right? The other thing that startled me a little bit is the fact that Razor's got double rapid fire cannon. I think he wishes one of them was a static shift.
Oh boy, he thinks he's misfortune at the moment. That's not quite how it works. Goodness sake.
Boy, oh boy, Fish.
Just give him a golf clap, ladies
Quinn
and gentlemen.
Corbett, go back and sell the rapid fire cannon and pick yourself up a static shift.
Oh boy. He's still doing quite a bit of damage. That crit from the rapid fire cannon shot just did 1,150 damage to Gromp. It's a little bit obnoxious of you, Caitlyn. He's got about 80% crit as well.
Yep, he's doing a good job. See how long Regicide can hold out on this game now? I mean, it is kind of a foregone conclusion. 3 items picked up for both Swiffer as well as Raze.
If they hold on for 5 more minutes, they're halfway to a point.
They are.
According to Tiga. Don't know if that's quite how it's going to work. Fade's caught, he's dead.
Oh,
tries to get some protection from the Decoy. Good ultimate being used by the Brom.
Yeah.
Not going to be enough though, and again, Chief just had such a big goal lead.
Decoy's been impressive so far, Fish.
Yes, he has.
2, 4, and 4. Been a part of a lot of the action around Summoner's Rift. He's got the door up in good places multiple times. Whoa.
They're going to try and catch out Chenny Boy. Spooks going deep into the back line. ZZ popped his ultimate very early to try and stay relevant in this fight. Good ultimate. Picks up Spooks. Swiper is knocked back as well. Tanking up the turret. Almost enough to take him down. And again, give 6,000-7,000 gold to Regicide. That would have been a 1-team fight.
Exactly right. The Chiefs overzealous. They use too many things to be able to pick up the kill onto Fade. Then they stick around for even longer. You can tell that they're getting impatient. They want this game to be over.
Yes.
Swiper's going back to base. Yep.
Too many times we've seen him live on that much health. They're still sieging up the turret here, the Chiefs. They have a massive goalie. They've worked really hard for it so far in this match. And Regicide doesn't deal with so many minions in their base as well.
Yeah, it becomes a turret defense game right now. You have to be able to balance your waves, know when your base turrets have to take damage, know when you have to go clean them out. And they've done a pretty good job so far. Once again, it's only. They've trimmed 1,000 gold off that lead, is what I was trying to say.
It's only 14,000
Shut
gold
up.
in the Chiefs' favor right now. That's it. Oh boy.
Oh boy, Fish.
And as much as you can say Regicide have done well in this game, it's not enough. No matter how many compliments we can throw their way against someone like the Chiefs, it's not going to be able to take them down, and they're still going to have to go back to the drawing board after this game and figure out what the heck went wrong.
And I wonder what they actually decide on. Like, do they go more towards the laning phase? I mean, Oriana's fine in the mid lane. That shouldn't be as bad of a lane as what it was in the end.
True.
Renekton is a laning phase top laner, otherwise you just wouldn't play him. Maybe the Braun Jhin lane, you can say, was supposed to be lose. Maybe not lose that hard fish. But, I mean, what else did they really have? They had Varus as well as Ashe Bands. So unless you want to play something, you can't play Lucian into Caitlyn.
I feel like if you throw Sealman on Ahri, completely different game as well. The champion is comfortable with something he can be an assassin on.
Yeah, but it depends. Is there any counters to Ahri he doesn't want to play against? Because you have to remember you had to blind pick the Oriana.
Yeah. The funny thing is Oriana is one of those champions you don't really want to play against as Ahri.
Yep. So potentially Swiffer would have been on that. Cool. Spooks has been caught out here. No damage.
Tickles a little bit.
Taste of purple.
Baron buff comes up in the next 10 seconds as well. So Chiefs was set up quite nicely for that. They still have Swiper split pushing. He has his teleport available. ZZZ has his up as well.
ZZZ actually just going to fight Swiper. Of course, we would never watch that.
Nah. Oh, there he goes. Pop the Dominus. There's an equalizer being used. ZZZ just going to tank it up. Swiper flashes away. And look at that. He just says, I can tank your entire ultimate, Rumble. Come back here and fight me.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can see that he's actually going towards the Mora Malmortius next.
So they've started up Baron. Chiefs going to look to try and take this down. The Regicide not going to give it up without a fight. Spook straight into the back lines on top of Decoy. The Chiefs actually taking quite a bit of damage. Oh, good pick by Swiffer. Immediately takes down the mid laner for Regicide. And with that, Regicide have to back off. They're calling it a teleport, but Swiper's here as well. Back from base. Fades the next target. Good pick by them. And again, the captain, the big mid laner, the superstar of Oceania Swiffer, 9-1-9. Looking great with some of his rifts.
Yeah, and Swiffer and Ejim, arguably the two members of the Chiefs that, you know, you would say were not having the kinds of seasons so far that they would have liked, are actually the two members that have stood up massively in today's game. 18 seconds still on the mid lane, and we're still only 28 minutes into this one, Fish. It's hard to close out a game of League of Legends at this stage, but it looks like they're going to go for it one more time.
Let's see if they can do it. 8 seconds on Sealman. Does have Shockwave available. No Baron buff for the Chiefs, so these minions are a little bit easy to take down. Boy's doing what he can. Ultimate used by ZZZ. Almost killing Decoy. Next to no health remaining. Sealman does have ultimate available. There will be one taken down. Egypt flashes away from death. Boy going 1-on-1 against Swiper. Here comes Spade. Forces him into stasis.
They can't finish again.
You're going to be able to get the shutdown towards Swiper. Conical comes out as well. Spooks gets tagged, but that's about it. And they've done it, Spawn. Another 30-second delay here. And, you know, they're halfway there to that point.
They are. I mean, at this rate, T-Gun's just going to give away points that should belong to the Chiefs because it looks like the Chiefs are going to win the game. But I don't know if they can win it in the half an hour allotted time limit that T-Gun imposed on them.
Very nice of TM to give their points over to Regicide here today.
Oh, is that what they're doing at the moment? That explains it.
I'm assuming if T-Gun's saying that they get a point, he's going to give it to them somehow. But still, they're hanging on. It's good to see them fighting, but Chiefs with this gold lead just... It's a matter of time before they close it out. I don't see any legitimate way that Regicide hold on with their Nexus exposed 30 minutes in.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the gold lead is sitting around 13,000 still. It's still a massive gold lead for 30 minutes into the game.
It's just at a point in the match where unless Chiefs make an unforced error, you can't do anything as Regicide. No matter how great of a play you make, the Chiefs just have too much of a lead.
Yeah, an amazing play at this stage of the game is probably worth a one-team fight or the shutdown, as well as Baron and maybe a couple of turrets, which is probably a 6,000 gold play. So if you make that play, you still end up 6,000 gold down.
Again, worst part
which is better. I mean, I'd rather be 6,000 gold down than 12,000 gold down.
But the worst part about that is Chiefs have to do something for that to happen. I don't think there's any scenario where Regicide actually set up a play where they can get into that position. Chiefs have to make a big mistake for that to happen, which is why it seems like it's a game that's already a Chiefs victory. As much as I know you're not meant to call a game over until it's over, it looks like it is at the moment. It's going to take a miracle for Regicide to try and come back into this one.
I believe, Fish. I believe in miracles.
Well, let's see. Side's going to tank up shots from the Conical again.
Here we go.
Almost all four. Baron's dead though. ZZ's jumped in. Immediate QSS coming out from Raze. Fade jumps over a trap. He's instantly removed from Summoner's Rift. ZZ takes some time, but it's already a double kill picked up by Swiffer. Swiper goes into stasis. A good shockwave does nothing to the Chiefs at the moment. Decoy's now the target of choice. Good lockdown on towards Spooks as Raze is charging on forward. Good pick from Silman though. Takes down Swiffer in the middle of this team fight. There's currently a 2-for-1 trade. That's still in favor of the Chiefs. Ejim is fairly low. Spooks having some troubles getting out of that fight. And somehow it was only a single kill for Regicide, but 2 kills for the Chiefs.
And you can see frustration creeping into the Chiefs' play. They're chasing through. That should have been a hard commit on the reset after they picked up 2 members. March it down bottom lane. Already this big super creep wave is forming in the top side of the map. And the wave is already pre-prepped. But they're like, we can chase through, we can fight. We should just be able to win the game right now. We should have won the game 12 minutes ago is what they're thinking. And unfortunately, the Chiefs found out there, this is turning into a quite sloppy late game. When you're 12,000 gold up at 20 minutes, you should win the game by now.
And again, Regicide saying, all right, well, we've got nothing to lose. Pull the trigger, let's see what happens. And ZZZ is...
Fade and ZZZ are absolutely hilarious. They're just like, we have gap closers. We don't care if we could kill people. We're going in.
The funniest thing to me is I think ZZZ is the best Renekton I've seen play today. And he's on a team with a 14,000 gold deficit.
You're getting funny faces, and they're not from me. Series did well in Game 2. Series Game 2 performance was pretty bloody stellar, if you ask me.
The Chiefs are going to use this time to take another Elemental Dragon for themselves.
Just in case it gets even later into the game. You need that Elder Drake security fish.
I'm so glad we get to talk to Coach Juice next game, because I want to know what the heck's going on in his mind while he's watching this game 30 minutes in.
I want to check if he's wearing a belt. Or whether...
Oh, boy.
Oh. Figure's just like, what does that mean? I'm saying whether he took it off and gave some much-needed discipline to this Chiefs lineup in between sets.
Yeah, I could see the hand actions. I think it was a lot darker than that. Chiefs are looking to try and make another push for the Nexus. Already minions are crashing onto Regicide's Nexus. They've got to fight on multiple fronts at the moment. They're holding on for their dear lives. And that's going to be enough. Chiefs have broken another inhibitor turret. Mid lane inhibitor is under siege. Double rapid fire cannon for Raze, putting in some good work here. That will eventually fall. ZZ spot Dominus again, showing the Chiefs, I want to go for a fight. Picks it up straight away. He's going to get taken down almost instantly. Swiper gets that kill using Stasis. The rest of Regicide trying to back off. Decoy trying to run. Good shockwave coming out.
Hit the Nexus, Chiefs. I mean, they're just chasing kills.
That's what they're going to try and do now. Chiefs 5-man strong, march on towards the Nexus. Stillman almost takes down Spooks. He jumps on in, still alive somehow. Gets another kill for his team. Swiffer picks that one up. Stillman, it's going to fall, and only Fade is left alive as finally, 34 minutes into the game, Nexus will fall. Chiefs pick up game 1.
I mean, it was a commanding victory. I don't know if it was the cleanest victory, but still, pretty impressive play out of the mid lane and support, you have to say right now. And the rest of the Chiefs lineup still looking very solid. Yep.
I mean, Swiffer had a good lane, mid lane, couple of mistakes here and there. Spooks looked good on Rek'Sai, except for that single blast cone over to Fade, which was questionable.
I mean, there was plays like that out of all the Chiefs members. There were disrespectful plays, and I think, you know, nearly a 2v1 play for ZZZ in the bottom lane as well, as they collapse very hard on a Renekton. And I think that, honestly, Regicide, they just need to clean up their 2v2 down in the bottom lane, and the rest of the map actually looked okay. Didn't look fantastic, but would have got them to a 30-minute team-fighting game. Instead, they lost a turret 8 minutes. Pretty much that turret was gone. A very strong gust of wind at 8 minutes would have knocked down bottom lane turret. And in the 2v2, I mean, that's not good enough. And whether it's draft of, you know, Jin can't go with a Caitlyn or Braum can't go with Kate Lulu, whatever it is, I mean, you have to be able to clean that up going into game 2.
And I mean, Decoy stepping into the lineup as well makes that bottom lane look a little bit more secure, I'm pretty sure.
In the team fights, he looked good.
Yeah, he looked really good in the team fights as well. So signs of life from Regicide, but it was business as usual for the Chiefs there, or was it really? To tell us a little bit more about that, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Well, if business as usual is sloppy play potentially, it was Choo Choo's T-Gun. I mean, T-Gun, let's start with you. You said the Chiefs are going to play respectfully towards Regicide. I don't feel like that's how they started the game.
I don't think they did either. I think that was pretty dismal by about the 30-minute mark. Don't get me wrong, Regicide, a team that just would not die. They would not give up. They fought to the bitter end and did really, really well. But like Spawn said, Chiefs should have won 12 minutes before they did, but just took very sloppy, very disrespectful moves into the game, probably not expecting Regicide to be as good as they were.
Yeah. Choo Choo's, do you agree?
Yeah.
Unleash.
That game was really like, I don't know, that game could have ended a while ago.
Yeah.
But, you know, like you can talk about how they could have closed it out better, but I think they really showed a lot of improvements. Raze wasn't solo carrying this game anymore. Swiffer turns up big. Swiper played. I thought Swiper played great that game. As well as Spooks. Spooks definitely showed the new Rek'Sai and what it was capable of.
Well, let's talk about Regicide because I think the disrespect went both ways, Tegan. About 6 minutes in, let's take out this first replay. Suman gets ganked by Spooks, and he should have seen this coming, right?
Yeah, we touched on it before. It was Suman needs to... We're a bit past that. Suman's already died. This is Swiffer being silly. And we also touched on this, is Swiffer making silly mistakes. He was pretty good past this. Right? He dies in probably the most preventable death I've seen in quite a while because he just didn't want to show respect. He just wanted to walk up and say, "I don't care what you're doing." And Fade said, "All right."
When we're talking about this upstairs issues, you were defending Swiffer in that. You were like, "Look, it's just it's a bad move. It just happens."
I've been in that position. Like I think every mid laner can agree with that. That they've been in that position where they're like,
"You just want the farm."
Well, yeah, you want the farm, but then you think, oh, like you're not laning against a Kha'Zix. You don't know how strong the Kha'Zix is. You've been laning against an Orianna, and then next minute this guy jumps on you, and you're like, oh my god,
he just slaps you.
Yeah, this guy it even surprised me. I was so surprised that Fade had that champion knowledge to know that he could take Swiffer out. Well, so yeah, I thought it was a great play by him.
It's one of his better champions. It's pretty well known that he's really, really good at Kha'Zix and Lee as his two main champions to play through the jungle, and Chiefs let it go through thinking it wouldn't be an issue. And while I don't think it was a big issue, obviously we saw him play it to its potential.
I mean, let's talk about the rest of the game as we move forward, though, before we get to this Baron call, because that's the defining moment. But between then, Regicide were trying to put up a fight.
They were putting up a fight until they decided to go to Baron. Up until this point, they're down a surmountable amount of gold. They're only down a bit over 4,000. And most of that's down in the bot lane, most likely. Instead, they take a really, really aggressive Baron
TP into Rumble ult.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
This Rumble ult is just incredible. They're stacked on it. They just die. Orianna ult is shocking. And they just get cleaned up. And that's what you expect from the Chiefs, is pretty clean play.
Interesting, though, do you think that was the right call for Regicide to take that Baron? Because I feel like they would feel they need to make plays.
Something that I really want to point out is that Regicide weren't afraid to make proactive plays.
Yeah.
That all started before that Baron fight happens. They actually saw that Raze and Ejim were overextending top lane, and they utilized the Jhin ult to engage in them. They ended up picking Raze, and Ejim barely lived. And then they made I would call it a desperation call to get the Baron because they knew they're behind. And it was pretty close. I think they got to around 3.5k, and then I don't know if they were aware that Rumble had TP up. But you could definitely see that they were quite assertive in some of their calls, and it's unfortunate that they weren't able to lock that one down.
If they had been able to kill Ejim in that fight before, then that Baron goes completely differently, does it? Or
I don't know if I'd even call it desperation. Like,
right.
It was touched on by the casters. It's essentially a 3v5 because Ejim is on sub 10% health.
Yeah.
He's basically as good as dead. So I'm not sure if him dying changes it. I think it was just a gut call made at the time with the knowledge that they are slightly behind and just didn't go their way. Maybe if they executed better, it could have. Maybe if they respected and turned off the Baron instead of trying to finish it, it could have went better. It's a hard thing to say, and it's something that they will probably argue over in VOD review for quite a while. But when I look back on it, I'm pretty happy that they made that decision because, like you said before, it's proactive play, it's decisive play, and it's what they need to be looking to do to really fight against these top-tier teams.
Well, as the draft has come up on your screens, let's take a look at it. And in particular, I want to talk about this Rumble play into Renekton. Chiefs have picked it, and we know, Swiper went off that game. We know he played really, really well. But in the first series we saw today, we talked about Rumble as a potential pick into Renekton. How do you think that went out today?
It's such a hard champion to judge because of the changes. Most people are saying it's a competitive nerf, but a non-competitive buff because what it does is accentuate his trades and make it easier to sort of avoid the front-loaded damage. I'd say it was played pretty well today. Yeah. I'm not sold on it yet. It's a low sample size of one game. But
no, make a call.
If I had to make a call, I'd say Renekton is still the better champion, in my humble opinion. But I'd love to see it again.
Yeah, I don't think Rumble necessarily loses that matchup. I think a lot of people think, oh, Renekton, Crocodile is going to do really a lot of damage.
That's why he does the damage.
But I think Swiper did play the matchup quite well. He did a crazy good flash over a wall to secure a kill for himself, and he's probably my MVP for this match.
Let's move on to mid lane. I want to talk about Swiffer vs Human because I know we were talking about this before we went into the game. You were saying Human's the potential carry threat, but after a shaky start, Swiffer absolutely carrying this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, Soyman had a really rough start. He didn't expect the level 3 gank from Spooks, which was really nice by the dynamic duo and Chiefs. Swiffer obviously fell a bit behind. He got solo killed by Fade, but Syndra is the kind of champion that once you shut down, once the opposing mid lane champion falls a bit behind, Syndra is able to capitalize on that, and we saw he solo killed Soyman a couple times that game.
Yeah, and essentially, like, once he got that lead and started either trying to freeze waves or just zones Human, he had to pay a lot of respect and had to start conceding things, concede minions, just concede pressure around. We saw Fade have an advantage against Spooks, and Spooks is still readily invading Fade's jungle because he knows Swiffer's going to rotate a lot faster than Human and be more effective in the 2v2. So once he got ahead, he was just really, really aggressive and helped his team get ahead as well.
I also want to shout out Decoy because this is kind of the first time we've seen him. And what do
Great
you guys think
debut.
of his great debut?
Great debut.
Great debut.
Yeah?
I was very impressed.
Well, let's talk to the support. I mean, what did you like about his play?
It was just clean. What you expect of a support. You expect him to know his place in the fights and know when to use, what to use. His ultis were generally really, really good as far as zoning tools, as far as peeling tools. When Spooks made the overstep down bottom at the golems, the reason he dies is because of the Braum stun. Because the Braum's there in time. Just really proactive.
That's also a kind of a weird jump by Kazakhstan. Like that's weird.
Yeah,
Spooks have
but
done that.
I mean,
if
all he
it's
did
a
was-
weird
all he
thing-
did was right click.
If it's a weird thing and you're prepared for it, doesn't that
Well
give you a
played,
lot of...
Decoy.
If it's something that's weird and you are prepared for it, is that not good?
Absolutely.
Good,
No, you're right.
foresight?
You take advantage. You make
I definitely agree.
expectations.
His engages on Raze and Ejim, Chenny Boy and him put up actually a really good fight. In a lot of their 2v2 battles, you could just see how proactive he was at ensuring the passive hit, and his ult always like hitting the Caitlyn. And
that's
I was very impressed.
That's
by
a
him.
tough 2v2 as well. You give up Caitlyn Lulu, that's
They
probably
lost
one of
they
the...
lost tower at 8 minutes.
Yeah, that's one of the strongest lanes they could pick, especially in the Braum. They're just going to bully him all game. Actually, when they first backed Chiefs, they didn't take the tower when we felt like they could have, and I was saying it's because they just want to stay in that lane. You just want to keep bullying them as opposed to rotating into the tower game, rotating to taking, top tower, mid tower, and sort of controlling objectives. Just stay in lane and punish them, and I think that's what Chiefs were trying to do. Then once they got out of it, Decoy and Chenny started to look a bit more effective.
Well, speaking of Decoy and Chenny, I mean, what do you want to see them improve going into Game 2? Because I feel like they put up a pretty good fight, and they probably exceeded people's expectations in Game 1, but in Game 2, I mean, is it within reach?
Give them better champions to contest the 2v2.
It's a tough matchup.
Vicarious even said he picked it for the mid game.
Absolutely.
It was a deliberate thing to sort of concede that lane to get better strength in the mid game. Have faith in them. Pick them stuff that they can brawl on. Pick them stuff that they can fight on, because I believe they actually have a pretty good shot. Most people generally come into this deriding their bot lane as pretty dismal, but Decoy has shown that they're able to fight.
I mean, imagine him on Thresh if they didn't ban it themselves. Imagine if he got his Thresh.
I think,
Maybe he's not a Thresh trick anymore.
just to touch on that, I think they really want to Renekton first and ban Thresh because that's an obvious trade for Chiefs to take.
Right.
Not certain, but it's a very viable path for them to take.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as we get out of this for Chiefs, then what do you want? What do you want to see out of them? I mean, they need to clean up their play, right? Because if you're Direwolves or Legacy watching this game, you're thinking, hey, we're going to Vietnam for Rift Rivals. Chiefs are staying here. They got a lot to work on. They got a lot to improve.
Yeah, I think this is a week where Chiefs can really show how they've come together. Like, this is a week that they can prove that we're still like clean, we're still good. That first game was very shaky, but I think the second game, if they can really pull this together and have a really clean 20-minute game, that would be very reassuring for themselves and for all their fans.
Yeah, they just need to go back and really identify that they didn't pay enough respect. They took really risky moves that they probably wouldn't take against a Direwolves, against a Legacy, because they just didn't really respect Regicide, thought they were just way better. Might be true, might not be true, not the point. The point is they need to pay that respect and just improve on just being cleaner than what we just saw.
All right, final thoughts on this game. We saw some odd itemization choices throughout the game. Ray's picking up the double rapid fire cannon as one. That's probably a mistake. But I want to ask, this is from @the_Melvin_AU, asks, if Oriana had boots, would Regicide have done better? Would Regicide
I did not notice he didn't have boots.
He didn't have boots. He went 3 items without boots.
That's a shocker. That's almost as bad as two rapid fires.
I don't know. No,
They wouldn't have won the game? No, that's not enough?
That's
Okay.
pretty much as solid as you can give. The itemization wasn't the problem. It was the macro decisions. The boots would have helped. Obviously, it helps you get in position a lot faster, but the problem wasn't as simple as just one small mistake.
Well, I know Carbon said that, you know, the boots is basically getting you gold quicker, right? Because you can move around the map. You're spending less time inactive. So the boots are going to help you long term. But you reckon it wouldn't have been enough?
No.
All right.
No, it wouldn't. That's the answer I give you.
Well, that is rounding out our analysis of that first game. Chiefs take it 1-0 over Regicide, but do not go anywhere because after these highlights, we're back with game number 2.
Spooks, he's going to flash early. That means a free flash knockup for Spooks as well. First blood is picked up by the Regicide.
Some of the jungle
Oh, that's
Fade.
big from Fade.
Got
Swiffer,
him.
what are you doing? Fade's going to hunt you down and pick up a free kill in the mid lanes. Swiffer going for the support, and in fact, it's a teleport into the back lines from both top laners. Swiper's in trouble. Raze is charging up his ultimate. Stillman's still alive. 2 kills for Regicide, 1 for the Chiefs so far. ZZZ and Jenny Boy standing their ground at the moment. Teleport is coming in. The big thing though, this is a 3-on-5 because Egypt technically can't do anything in this fight besides throw out glitter lances from a range. Spooks goes in, good equalizer being used. That's 3 members tanking it up. Goes in vulnerable, big ultimate by Stillman, but look at Swiper in the back lines, easily cleaning up the team fight. Pretty sure that's going to be a quadra there. No, it's not just a triple-double. It's a Rumble and Syndra picking up all the kills, and Chief says, thank you for this Baron you started for us. We don't mind taking that one. Let's see if they can do it. 8 seconds on Stillman. Does have Shockwave available. No Baron buff for the Chiefs, so these minions are a little bit easy to take down. Boy's doing what he can. Ultimate used by ZZZ. Almost killing Decoy. Next to no health remaining. Stillman does have ultimate available. It will be one taken down. Egypt flashes away from death. Boy going 1-on-1 against Swiper. Here comes Spade. Forces him into stasis.
Can't finish again.
You're going to be able to get the shutdown towards Swiper. Protocol comes out as well. Spooks gets tagged, but that's about it. ZZ's jumped in, immediate QSS coming out from Raze. Fade jumps over a trap. He's instantly removed from Summoner's Rift. ZZ takes some time, but it's already a double kill picked up by Swiffer. Swiper goes into stasis. A good shockwave does nothing to the Chiefs at the moment. Decoy's now the target of choice. Good lockdown on towards Spooks as Raze is charging on forward. Good pick from Stillman though. Takes down Swiffer in the middle of this team fight. There's currently a 2-for-1 trade. Now Chiefs 5-man strong, march on towards the Nexus. Stillman almost takes down Spooks. He jumps on in, still alive somehow. Gets another kill for his team. Swiffer picks that one up. Stillman is going to fall, and only Fade is left alive as finally, 34 minutes into the game, Nexus will fall. Chiefs pick up game 1.